My hope, my prayer for my birthday present is to get word that you are dead. And I hope that it's the most painful judgment ever.
The defendant should be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 35 years. This sentence is permissible under the Iowa law. A 35-year mandatory minimum is not cruel and unusual punishment for the defendant.
And one warrant for felony murder. Because of those warrants, those are the charges that are pending right now.
This is 17-year-old Frenecha Torres from Suwanee, Georgia. Together with 17-year-old Nicholas Evans and 18-year-old Khalil Miller, he robbed and murdered 21-year-old William A. Tunchez.
Gwinnett County police say the three teens had committed other armed robberies nearby, and those crimes led police to charge the teens with attacking and killing Tunchez.
According to Detective Micah Hegwood, on October 7, 2018, Evans and Miller lured Tunchez from Lawrenceville to a wooded walking path in a Suwanee subdivision, promising him an intimate experience with Torres for $300. When Tunchez arrived, Evans pointed a gun at him, and Miller hit him over the head with a stick. Tunchez started wrestling for the gun, and the gun went off. Tunchez was shot in the neck. Evans, Miller, and Torres took Tunchez's belongings and fled, leaving Tunchez bleeding out on the path. Tunchez's body was discovered the next day by children along the Gwinnett Trail, but not before Miller returned to the scene for a second look.
We do believe it was a set-up robbery, and all three were identified as being at the scene.
Torres appeared surprised in court when her charges were read. Let's rewind and watch her reaction again.
And one warrant for felony murder. Because of those warrants, those are the charges that are pending right now.
Torres was initially charged with 2 counts of armed robbery, while Evans and Miller were each initially charged with 1 count of armed robbery and aggravated assault. However, after gathering enough evidence, the police added felony murder charges to the list for all 3. While that teen's reaction was dramatic, this one offered a good, old-fashioned, emotionless apology.
This is something I would like the court to know that no one understands how difficult this has been for her. She had to be strong for her children when the initial shock of this incident was told to her. And she never, through that process, having 2 other sons, had the process of having the opportunity to grieve.
This is 17-year-old Christian Martinez Chavez from Gresham, Oregon, who killed Jose Morales with a single shot from a .22 caliber rifle.
Also here, 2 Gresham police officers were here earlier as a precaution. One cop had told me that people here called authorities after some suspicious people were driving by.
On July 29, 2017, the Gresham police arrived at the intersection of Southeast 187th Avenue and Stark Street, where they came across Morales' body. Later, a Gresham officer pulled over a white Chrysler Sebring with 3 teens and a 20-year-old barely a quarter mile from where Morales had been found. One of the teens had blood on him, and the officer could see the rifle behind the driver's seat. According to court documents, Morales had punched Martinez Chavez in the face earlier that evening. Seeking retaliation, the 4 went to the home of one of them, retrieved the rifle, and went after Morales.
Morales' grandmother, Adelie Enriquez, described to us the day Jose was born prematurely. He had asthma and was starting to die. She then gave little Jose CPR and saved his life. Enriquez just wishes she could help again the way she did 17 years ago.
Several witnesses identified Martinez Chavez as the shooter. Before the sentencing, Martinez Chavez apologized to the family and wished things had gone differently.
Yeah, I just want to apologize to the family, I hope they could have played out differently. I'm sorry.
Christian Martinez Chavez officially changed his plea and accepted a manslaughter charge. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison.
As for the 4 people who were arrested, they're between the ages of 15 and 20. They're all facing murder charges.
As for the other defendants, Isai Guzman Ramirez appeared in court to change his plea, while the other 2, Francisco Martinez Chavez, Christian's brother, and Obed Garcia Antonio, went to trial. This teen took things further, crying while reading his statement.
I've understood that he had the intent to kill Mrs. Graber. Shaden had brought a bat, among other supplies, to go through with the murder. And after he had struck Nohima Graber,
This is 17-year-old Willard Miller from Iowa, who murdered his Spanish teacher, 66-year-old Nohema Graber from Fairfield High School. According to the prosecution, Miller and a fellow high school student, 18-year-old Jeremy Goodale, used a bat to kill Graber after stalking her as she took her daily walk in a large park in Fairfield, a small Iowa city about 100 miles southeast of Des Moines. After getting a poor grade in Graber's class, Miller grew frustrated because it would prevent him from participating in a study abroad program. He thus suggested that the two kill Graber.
We discussed a general plan of like I'll stand up here, look out, walk up behind her, and then I think we walked back out onto the trail to wait for Ms. Graber to show up.
According to witness reports, the duo was later spotted in the front seat of Graber's van, driving out of the park. The next day, Graber's body was found in the park under a tarp, a wheelbarrow, and railroad ties, where the teens had dragged her body and hidden it. Graber's van was abandoned on a desolate road that the teens used to walk back to town.
On November 2nd of 2021, I met Willard Miller at Chautauqua Park. I understood that he had the intent to kill Mrs. Graber. Shaden had brought a bat, among other supplies, to go through with the murder. And after he had struck Nohema Graber, we then moved her off of the trail, where I then struck her.
According to court documents, the deceased suffered inflicted trauma to the head.
I'd like to take this opportunity to wholeheartedly accept responsibility for the role that I've played in the murder of Nohema Graber. I would like to apologize for my actions, first and foremost, to the family. I'm sincerely sorry for the distress that I've caused you and the devastation I've caused your family. And from the bottom of my heart, I am sorry for your loss. I'm sorry to hear about Paul Graber.
During a hearing before Judge Sean Showers, video footage shows Willard Miller's emotionless reaction to his life-changing sentencing.
The defendant, Willard Noble Chaden Miller, should be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 35 years. This sentence is permissible under the Iowa law. A 35-year mandatory minimum is not cruel and unusual punishment for the defendant, as it represents the appropriate time of incarceration for the defendant and Mr. Goodale's premeditated murder.
Jeremy Goodale was sentenced to life in prison with a possibility of parole in 25 years. During his sentencing, he spoke amidst tears.
Every day I wish I could go back and stop myself, prevent this loss and this pain that I've caused everyone.
If you thought that was shocking, wait until you see how this teenage school shooter reacted during sentencing. This is 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz from Florida.
Alright, so here's the plan. I'm gonna go take an Uber in the afternoon before 2:40. From there I'll go onto school campus, walk up the stairs, load my bags, and get my AR and shoot people down at the main courtyard. Wait, and people will die. Location is Stone Douglas in Parkland, Florida. It's gonna be a big event.
He murdered 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland with an AR-15 style rifle. On February 14th, 2018, Cruz entered Stoneman High, which he had been expelled from, armed with a rifle, and began firing at students and teachers indiscriminately. He targeted classrooms and hallways, resulting in the deaths of 14 students, 3 staff, and injuries to many others.
If we can't protect our children in schools, then who can we protect?
Despite the seriousness of the situation, a code red lockdown was not promptly declared due to confusion over who had the authority.
Doors unlocked, the gates open, allowing Cruz to get inside undetected.
He got into the 1200 building because that door was unlocked and unstaffed, and that we say that that is a security failure.
Cruz pulled a fire alarm to draw students into the hallways, increasing the number of potential victims. Several students initially believed it was just another drill, which slowed their reaction. Surveillance footage later showed Cruz discarding his rifle and vest before exiting the building and briefly mixing with fleeing students, which initially complicated identification efforts.
What's going on? What's going on today, bro?
The demons, man.
Demons?
Voices. Where am I? Holy what happened?
Shut up. Just be quiet, man.
Responding officers had to rely on witness descriptions and radioed sightings before locating him in a nearby residential area and taking him into custody.
My hope, my prayer for my birthday present is to get word that you are dead. That the justice system was done in jail. That the prisoners that you and inmates that you have to associate with executed the judgment that this court can't. And I hope that it's the most painful judgment ever.
Cruz pleaded guilty to premeditated murder, and while appearing before Judge Elizabeth Scherer for sentencing, he appeared disturbingly calm.
Count 1 of the indictment, the murder in the first degree of Luke Hoyer, the court imposes a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Mr. Cruz, you are remanded to the custody of the Department of Corrections to complete the mandatory life sentences imposed by the court.
Check out this video to keep enjoying more reactions from the courtroom.